Hi everyone. In this video, I'm going to be going through questions 2 and 3 of the second linear worksheet. These questions are focused on drawing linear relations on a plot. I'm going to show you a couple ways of doing this. I'm going to show you doing this by hand and then doing it by CAS. Question 2a is what the question is. It asks us to find the gradient and y-intercept for these relations and sketch their graphs. So this is quite easy for 2a. When we have a rule that is y equals some number, I'm going to call it m, times x plus another number, which I'll put as c. The m refers to our gradient, and the c refers to our y-intercept. So if our equation is in that form, super easy. Our gradient here is -1/2, and our y-intercept is +3. The y-intercept being at +3 means I know my graph is going to go through there. A gradient of -1/2 means that for every unit we move to the right, we move down 1/2. Or we can think of it as if we move 2 to the right, we move down 1. That's the rise over run component. The run of 2 and the rise of -1. That gets us a second point. And you might recall, whenever you have 2 points of a linear plot, that's enough to define a straight line. That's my dog making a funny noise. I'm going to put a straight line through those points. Another way to solve the same problem, I'm going to use B as an example. This one's a bit different. We don't have an equation in this format. So you have to do something a little bit different. You could rearrange it and make it into that format. That's a job for the CAS. So very quickly to do that, you would put the equation inside solve and comma y. And that'll rearrange our equation into the format y equals. And for us, the answer we'll get is y equals 3x on 2 plus 1. However, there's more than one way to solve this problem. I'm going to use the intercept method. So I'm going to look for the 2 intercepts of this equation. When looking for intercepts, you need to let x or y equal 0. If you let x equal 0, you'll find the y-intercept. And if you let y equal 0, you'll find the x-intercept. So we're going to do both. Let's start with the y-intercept. Let x equal 0. So in my equation, I'm going to replace x with 0. So I have 2y minus 3 times 0 equals 2. I have 2y equals 2. So y is equal to 1. You can use solve from here to get the answer, or with a bit of checking and identifying what's happening as you go. That y equals 1 value also matches the one on our standard format. So I'm going to put a dot here at y equals 1. Let's now repeat. I'm going to let y equal 0. So this time it's going to be 2 times 0 equal minus 3x equals 2. I'm going to get negative 3x equals 2. Dividing both sides by -3 will give me x equals -2/3. And that is our x-intercept. And -2/3 is just a little bit smaller than -1. When I say smaller, I mean closer to 0. So I'm going to put a little dot right about here. And I'm going to put a straight line between those two. Not too shabby. I quite like it. One thing that I haven't done on this example, which you should always do, is label your points. So that would be 0, 1, and that would be -2/3, 0. Always good to label your intercepts. Let's do the same over here. Nice. Not too scary. Not too scary. In either case, we've still found the gradient and y-intercept by turning it into our special format. Question 3 asks you to use the x and y intercept method. So let's do that and let's get some more practice at this one. I'm going to let x equals 0. That's going to be y equals 2/3 times 0 plus 2. Y equals 2. Nice and easy. Let's let y equals 0. It becomes a little bit more troublesome. I get that equation. Now, we could solve this by hand, but I'd like to show you how to solve it on CAS. Let me make a new page. So our equation was 0 equals 2/3 x minus 2. So this is the standard solve procedure. I'm going to type solve, or if you're down for a shortcut, it's menu 3-1. Write the equation in as we see it. So it's 0 equals 2/3 times x minus 2. 0 equals control divide for a bracket, 2/3, so control divide for a fraction, times x, and it was minus 2. I'm going to put comma x. That tells the calculator we're looking to solve for x, so it's going to find the value of x. Pressing enter, it gives us an x value of 3. So let's jump back over to our problem. Get an x value of 3. And I also realized I've just made a small mistake. I put a plus 2 here when it should be a negative 2. So let's fix that really quickly. Doesn't change too much about working already, fortunately. Whoops. There we go. So that point will move down to here. That looks a little bit nicer. And we are then just drawing a straight line through our 2 points. Oops. You will use a ruler, but I currently won't be using a ruler on my computer screen. And labeling those points in. So that would be 3, 0, and that will be negative 0, negative 2. Beautiful. Have a look at B. What I'd like you to do is, if you're watching this, I'd like you to give it a go yourself. So I'd like you to pause it now, take a couple minutes, let x equals 0, let y equals 0, find the 2 intercepts and plot it, and then when you're ready, press play to watch how I go about it. Okay, I'm going to let x equals 0. I'm going to have 3 times 0 plus y equals 3. 3 times 0 becomes 0. I'm just left with y equals 3. We'll do the exact same thing, but we'll let x equal 0. Oops, let y equal 0 this time. We did x before. I'm going to do 3 times x plus 0 equals 3. 3 times x equals 3. That must mean x equals 1. And then I draw my straight line. And again, we will put in our intercepts. So it's going to be 0, 3, and 1, 0. Beautifully done.